The DEADPIT, for decades the revolutionary force in horror and entertainment.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. We got a special little DEADPIT episode tonight. Just fair warn, I had a missing voice for a couple days. Did a lot of shows on Wednesday, so I lost my voice. That's why I haven't been streaming or anything. But I'm back. Things are feeling pretty good, and I've got a special guest with me. What up, Dad?
What is going on, G? We're going to do it just me and you, like old times when we first started this thing back. Like, what was it, like 3.5 years ago?
Yeah, it was the end of 2020. Well, at the end of 2020 is when I started my channel. I might have came on and did some stuff with you like a little bit before that to kind of get my feet wet. But yeah, we were streaming a lot together before we convinced Uncle Bill that he can stay home and do this thing, and he said, "Oh, I'm back."
And now, of course, Uncle Bill says that Sunday is his day off.
Mhm.
He can't do anything on Sunday because he's worried about work the next day or something else. He's always worried about something. But
Yeah.
we're here tonight doing a little something different, right? We haven't done anything like this before. I know we talked about it,
Mhm.
and we still may do, you know, the complete history of Fangoria Magazine at some point. But you know, that's an endeavor that I don't think we could ever really finish.
Yeah, it's
A lot. Yeah.
It's crazy. Like we've talked about, because we're really big on doing those year of series, and we have a kind of a lot running that we've got to get back to. But we're thinking about doing the year of Fangoria, starting from like the first year and then kind of moving from there and just doing it episode by episode. But yeah, it's a huge undertaking, especially because honestly, like I don't have many Fangoria magazines, especially old ones. But my uncle had like a complete collection at one point that he had sold off, and it really bums me out that I didn't jump on that when he had them. But yeah, he was heavily into those. He had Famous Monsters series. He had the whole series from, I don't know, start to finish. He ended up selling all that off. He was a big fan of those things. But being the holiday season and doing a lot more shows and streams and about things, that have to do with the holidays, I feel this kind of fit in the mold, because this is going to be like Christmas to you right now, man, because you got a box of some Fangos. When I say old Fangos, I mean, you're saying that they're old in the sense they might be like 10, 15 years old, not old like 80s old.
No, I mean, I've got plenty of, like, I've got the first couple of issues of Fango. I got the original in a frame somewhere in storage. And I've got a lot like from the 80s and 90s, but yeah, these are from a different, they're a weird era. And I think that a lot of people don't realize, Tony Timpone, who had been the editor of Fangoria Magazine for probably 25, 30 years before he was replaced finally, which was not I don't think that was a bad thing necessarily. But when Tony Timpone stepped down, that magazine really regressed. Like, it didn't progress, it regressed. And they were feeding off a lot more nostalgic topics and stuff like that. It didn't go forward. It went backwards, I think. And now, like, Fangoria Magazine is more or less just a mail order. Like, I don't know if it's on newsstands anymore, is it?
You can find Fangoria at like Barnes and Noble. That's like really the only spot that I know that they have them. But what they do is I was subscribed to them. It's actually kind of crazy because I subscribed to them last year, and like I haven't gotten anything for them forever. And I feel like I only I'm like looking back and I'm like, what did I subscribe for? Because I honestly feel like I got like 3 magazines.
I think they do
got one.
They do like every quarter now or something like that.
So it kind of is weird because it doesn't really feel like, in my opinion, like they're super cool and I love them, but for the price and you only get 4 magazines, it's kind of a little bit rough, because I'm like, I feel like I didn't get anything for my money really, but yeah, you can get them at Barnes and Nobles, and what they do is they have like newsstand variants. So you're getting the same magazine, but like the ones you get at the newsstands are a different cover than the ones you have if you were a subscriber. So I think that's kind of a cool niche, but it's at the same time, for collectors, it could be a rough road because you're buying 2 if you want to kind of keep it complete.
It can be very expensive as well, right? But because
I think each one runs like $20 now. It's not.
That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, they're thicker. Don't get me wrong; they are thicker than your average ones. But yeah, it's $20 a pop at Barnes for one of those.
So we're going to dig into these, but there's a special story behind these too. I got these locally. These are 18 issues of Fangoria Magazine, ranging from like April 2007 to July of 2009, I think. And these were from the collection of James Roberts, who was Wolfman on the old DEADPIT message boards, who had passed away probably 11 years ago. So this was part of his collection, which I thought was really cool. And I wanted to mention that as well. But I got these from Crater. Everybody knows Crater. A few weeks ago. And I was like, I've got to save these for a stream, because even though this isn't, 80s or even as cool as the 90s, I think it's a time capsule. These are, like, a lot of people nowadays that are checking these shows out didn't realize that there were really boutique DVD labels back then that had ads in Fangoria Magazine. There was all kinds of promotion of movies that came out in that time frame. Tons of movies were coming out theatrically then. So yeah, I figured it would be something different, a different sort of take on these Fangoria videos, which a lot of people do them, but I don't think we ever have done a Fangoria video in a positive light before.
Yeah, not at all. But I mean, like you said, it's so funny because in our eyes, and I'm sure I feel this way, I'm sure you do too, is they feel like newer Fangorias, but in reality, like 15 years ago, I mean, for a lot of the people that might be even watching the show, that was like their 80s, right? Like that was like their 90s, was that era of like the 2000s, I don't know, 2008, 2009. So it'll be interesting to go back and see which movies were like hitting the covers at that point, because that's the time when I was really not into Fangoria as much. I was collecting Horror Hound at that point, because what I liked about Horror Hound magazine, and I still do, to be honest, is that they always do something about collecting. So there's always like a little segment, like, this month we're going to talk about all the different Fright Night collectibles. So I always found that really fascinating. So I subscribed to Horror Hound for a couple years with that kind of stuff. But yeah, Fangoria is great, man. I mean, it just brings back so many memories of being a kid and my uncle having these. And, I was at his house just diving into them, really trying to figure out a lot more about the horror genre, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, back then, the internet was very, in its infancy back in the 90s, especially. And as a kid, like, you didn't really have a direct news source other than the magazines. So, and we were talking about Electronic Gaming Monthly before, and WWF Magazine back in the day. And, Fangoria Magazine was essentially it. I think Rue Morgue was around,
right,
starting in the mid 90s, maybe. And, but yeah, I mean, Fangoria was primarily it as far as, horror movie news and interviews and stuff like that. So pre-internet days, this was like essential material to get your hands on. And something else that's funny too, because the first issue I pulled out here, and we'll start going through these because, like I said, there is 18 total. This one is from May of 2007.
Ooh, a little 28 days.
28 weeks.
Oh, weeks.
Later. And guess what the retail price was on this in 2007?
$6.99.
$8.99.
Ooh.
In 2007, man. $8.99 2007. So just going through these, a lot of the main topics in this, of course, 28 weeks later, which I can't remember if that movie was not a huge hit, but because they haven't made one since. It's been 15, 16 years. And they, that kind of, I don't know if it's the movie or they just lost interest, but yeah, you would think 28 months later.
Well, they did announce that they're working on it. Yeah.
Oh, are they working on it?
Yeah, that's the last that news came out, is that someone was working on coming out with a new one. I think 28 years later, they were going to try to connect it. So, because basically it would be, it's not too far off at that point.
Right. And still, like, something to keep your eye on as well as these issues go along is it still had the classic Fangoria logo on there, and it kind of changed back and forth. But yeah, I mean, just opening up some of the ads and stuff is really cool to look at. Blue Underground ads there. You got Macabre, you got Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, which they ended up releasing that as Manchester Morgue, I think, right? That's kind of interesting that they had that under the Blue Underground label.
Did that ever come? It did, but not with that cover.
Right. It was the Manchester Morgue, the Living Dead at
Right.
Manchester Morgue. I don't think it ever came out as Let Sleeping Corpses Lie on anything but the Anchor Bay. And what do you got? Shock here, Autopsy, Lucio Fulci. So yeah, it's early Blue Underground. That's pretty early on for them, 2007. But yeah, they're also talking about Hostel in this, our buddy Eli Roth, Poultrygeist.
Mm-hmm.
And you got BCI Eclipse. That's another one of the early boutique labels on the back there. Ultraman, which I think Mill Creek is doing all those now, interestingly enough. You've got, which company is this? Peacemaker Entertainment. I don't recall. Genius Entertainment. Yeah. So half of like Fangoria was ads at this point. You remember the Thirst?
Oh yeah. There's like a whole like boatload of those, like the Forsaken, the Thirst. Remember all those that came out around that time?
Oh yeah. So pretty much, yeah, they got the poster art there for 28 Weeks Later. I remember liking that movie. I haven't went back and watched it in many, many years.
What 28?
28 Weeks Later.
I did too. I liked it a lot. And then I went back and watched it, and I kind of felt like it hasn't aged well. Personally, I just feel like it kind of had like, you know what, at that time they almost did like a weird filter on all these movies. They were like that, I don't know what you would call it. It was like a weird filter that they put on a lot of these horror movies around that time. But I feel like that it just doesn't, to me, it just didn't age well. But again, it's probably been, I haven't watched it in probably like 3 years or whatever, but.
And wasn't it something like, doesn't Disney own those movies now? So the likelihood of,
I'm not even sure.
I think I heard somebody mention that. Maybe someone in the chat can fill us in. Another interesting ad pops up here. Tom Savini's special makeup effects program.
Ooh.
That was the early days of him opening that school, I think.
I mean, he's done all right with it, considering at that time you were getting like, you know, things like that. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you were getting Warrior University and like these things that people were just trying to kind of market to get people involved. But he's still going, Savini, in his school, which is incredible.
Back in these days, Dick Smith was helping him out, looks like. So Douglas Education Center in Pittsburgh, or I can't pronounce the name, near Pittsburgh, I'm sure. But yes, tons of, they're reviewing Pumpkinhead Ashes to Ashes.
Ooh, look at all that, those classics at that time.
Blood Trails, The Hunt, Beneath Still Waters. Blood Trails was their video of the month, and they have a big article on Death Proof.
That's a good one.
That's a pretty cool. So yeah, that was May of 2007. Fangoria Magazine talking about Hostel 2. Big article on Hostel.
That's awesome, man.
Sweet.
What's up, Jay?
I have heard of Delirium Magazine for sure.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much of trying to see if there's any more article or Fangoria Weekend of Horrors presented by Anchor Bay.
So that's cool, man. They don't even do those anymore. Weekend of Horror, which is crazy because like that was a huge show, and like all these other shows are out there, and that one's not around. It's
Eli Roth was at that one, looks like. Frank Darabont, that's a pretty big name. Huh? Don Coscarelli.
Wonder why they don't do that. That would be pretty cool if they ever came back and did like a Weekend of Horrors.
I'm not sure who really runs Fangoria now. I think they were bought out, if I'm not mistaken. But they're also reviewing Deadlands: The Rising, which we kind of knew that guy. I can't recall his name, but yeah, he was promoting that heavily around that time. Phantasm 3 from Anchor Bay. Skin Crawl. Yeah, so that's an interesting. And I paid less than what? It was like a little bit over $2 an issue or something like that. Maybe a little less than $2 an issue. And they had like book reviews, Also talking about, they had a couple of different Fangoria weekends of horrors they were promoting on here. Uwe Boll was in one, in this last one here. Uwe Boll and Debbie Rochon, and that was when Fangoria Radio was ongoing, right? Debbie Rochon and Dee Snider.
I never listened to Fangoria Radio.
I didn't either. There was no need.
I was listening to DEADPIT Radio.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing.
So yeah, that was the first of, was it issue 263, May of 2007.
All right. Well, before we get to the next one, I want to say what's up to everybody in the chat. I saw you. I've been trying to keep up with a lot of your comments. So appreciate you guys being in here. Hit the like button, and make sure if you're on my channel at Born to Be Rad, you hit the like button, and also go subscribe to DEADPIT if you have not on YouTube.
Yeah, and if you're on here from DEADPIT and you're not subscribed to Born to Be Rad, then what in the hell? Why not?
Yeah, come on over.
So it's like
I got big goals, man. I got like 20 days left. Big goals here.
Yeah. Yeah, he's on the road to 5K before the end of 2023, and it's pretty damn close.
It's gonna cut it close, man. I'll tell you.
Pretty close, but I mean, hell.
Jason said Weekend of Horrors was under the Creation Entertainment umbrella. There was a falling out, and Fango and Creation went their separate ways. So that was kind of probably the end of that, which is crazy because, you know, the con scene is so big now that they were kind of one of the first, and they're kind of missing out on all this, you know.
Yeah, they were doing the conventions back in the mid 80s, I think, is when that started. The Weekend of Horrors.
What's up, Blue? Yeah. I don't want to do it. So if it's going to happen,
well,
it's going to make
it's kind
of
be
worthwhile. It's going to be kind of worthwhile. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of cursed, honestly, because we had it started. We had a couple of donations, and then like they canceled it. And then I had to kind of reword it a little bit. So it's still up there, but they're not making it easy on us. That's for sure. So I don't know, but we'll see. Just need $200, folks. That's not that much.
He kept bugging me to do it. I'm like, no. Well, what would it take? I'm like, I don't know, $200.
Not only watching it though, but eating chocolate pudding with nuts in it while we're watching it. And
I mean, you guys have seen it. I don't really know what I'm getting. I don't know anything about it besides just what people have said about it. Like, I've never watched any trailer or any. I have no idea I have really no clue what it is.
It's disgusting.
That's what I hear. Appreciate that, Jackson Jack.
I mean, it's just I don't know if it's definitely, I don't think it's as disturbing as Cannibal Holocaust or anything like that. It's just like gross, disturbing kind of.
Mayor says, did anyone else notice 28 months later and Planet Terror both had a scene of a helicopter chopping up zombies? I did not notice that.
28 weeks.
I don't remember much about the 28 movies, really.
Well, 28 days later, and you'll probably never get an upgraded version of that. Yeah. Because it was shot on DV tape. Like it was, you know, I mean, the version that's out now, like there's no way to remaster that, I don't think. So that's probably why, like, if you see a 4K of 28 days later, something's wrong. Like they're really trying to pull a fast one on you.
Well, I mean, you know it's coming, really. I mean, probably. It's going to be coming. Of course. Yeah. They're going to do some kind of set. Scream Factory will do it, I'm sure.
So continuing on, though, since we've got 18 of these, I'm going to try to go through these a little bit quicker.
Let's fly.
But this is the next month, June of 2007, issue 264, with the gruesome Eli Roth's Hostel Part 2 cover right there. Yeah.
Bring out your dead.
But the real cool thing was the back cover, man. Look at that. Anchor Bay. So this was like the dying days, like of classic Anchor Bay. Their releases. You've got Phantasm, Cemetery Man, Evil Dead, Halloween. You've got the 30th anniversary of Night of the Living Dead, which that's a classic. Creep Show 2, Hills Have Eyes, all the Masters of Horror. This is just a killer. I thought that was a pretty killer ad in the back there.
Those are cool. I mean, those are the type of things though that make good content, like on Instagram or something. Like take a photo of that, crop it up a little bit, and then repost it. Like it just brings back a lot of nostalgia for people, I think, especially, you know, around that time that people remember when they actually used to do stuff like that for physical media.
Yeah. So Anchor Bay. Cool. they're on a different level. I mean, it was just a different time. They were selling these movies everywhere. You know, when Best Buys, they were in malls. Suncoast was big around that time period. Walmart even had it around Halloween. Do you remember the Halloween setups at
Of
Walmart
course.
with anchor-based stuff?
Man, it was insane. Like those ads that would come out around Halloween, like you could get steals at like Best Buy or whatever. They'd have like a whole, it wasn't even a row. It would be like they'd have almost like a basket, like a center floor thing with all those horror movies in it. Like it would be like, 3 for 20 or something like that.
Right.
And you used to just get in there and just, get like 6 movies for $40. Boom. Out. Now it's like trying to get things, and I'm like looking around online and I'm like, I'm not spending $40 for these. I'm not. So it's like, it's hard to find. I'm thinking to myself, are these like going out of print? Is that why they're so expensive? Are they limited? Like, why are these movies so much money now?
You didn't get anything from Severin this time, did you?
Not yet, but I want something because I do have this $10 off card. I'm like, I want to
I do
get
too.
something.
I have a very hard time paying $55, even $45 for one movie. It's just, and it would be different if it was some sort of specialty like package, which Anchor Bay did back in the day, like the Evil Dead Book of the Dead or even the Phantasm Sphere set. But this is just,
well, I mean, even
old
little
shit.
things like I wanted the Stand By Me 4K Steelbook. Dude, it's like $45. Like I'm not going to spend $45 on a movie that I've already got 2 other times. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I think over the next year or so too, when the retail stores are really going to stop carrying this stuff, the prices on even the mainstream stuff's going to go up.
I think so too.
They're not going to be making as much of it, and they're going to have to offset the costs by just charging the hardcores more. So
I do feel 40 is going to be the average pretty soon, which is kind of scary. Like I don't want to pay more than. I mean, again, I say that, but like when it comes to boutique labels and like what people do, like for instance, I'm trying to get my review done for this, but I didn't have a voice. So this, like, I mean, I can justify a little bit here, you know what I mean? But if you're just going to give me this, which looked great, by the way, on 4K, it looked freaking phenomenal. But like, why should I pay $40 for this? You know what I mean? Like that's kind of my issue is that it's just, it kind of is all like a depends situation, but it does feel like it's just getting a little bit crazy. Like I had a couple things ordered. I think I had like Tremors 2 ordered or something like that. And the other day I was just scrolling through and it was like $50 on Amazon. And I'm like, really? Like, I think I paid like 30 something dollars for that. I thought, but yeah, who knows?
This issue though, what else say it was June of 2007. Very interesting review in this. For anybody that knows the history of this movie, and let's see if I can show it on here. Trick or Treat.
Oh yeah.
So the story behind this movie is it was technically shown once in 2007, which I guess is where they saw it here at Fangoria, and it wasn't released until like 2009 on Blu-ray or whatever, Blu-ray and DVD. So it'd be interesting to check out the review and see if this Dana Van Buskirk liked it as much as everybody likes it now.
Well, I remember when I can't remember what movie, maybe somebody in the chat remembers, but there was a movie I saw in the theaters because I used to go to those midnight night before showings for all the horror movies back in the day so I could see them first. And there was a trailer for Trick or Treat at the beginning of one of those movies. And I remember like being like, wow, this looks freaking awesome. And then I just never heard anything about it. And the more and more I kept saying, where's that movie that I saw that trailer for? And then come to find out there was a big story behind it. It finally came out on physical media or whatever. But I remember when it was announced years before we ever saw that on like a trailer before a movie. Did you remember ever seeing that?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, they were hyping it up forever. Originally, it was supposed to come out in theaters. Warner Brothers did it, and they stuck it on, what was that? The smaller sub label of Warner Brothers at the time. They stuck it on Blu-ray. And when everybody watched it immediately, it wasn't one of those deals where it took it years to kind of get a following. Although now the following is gigantic for that movie, and they still haven't made a follow-up to it. But yeah, I mean, everybody pretty much liked Trick or Treat when it came out, and everyone was pretty confused. I think the reason that they didn't want to play it theatrically. The Saw movies were so damn hot around that time, and this was all, you can't release a movie called Trick or Treat anytime but like October, maybe late September. You could get away with it, but yeah, I guess because of that, they just sat on it for a couple of years and then just released it on DVD. Camp Motion Pictures.
Oh yeah,
the retro.
I have a ton of those, man. I mean, like TerraVision's releasing all those again, basically.
Yes.
So
yeah. They're re-releasing
I had a bunch
all of
of
them.
those growing up. Yeah.
They're shot on video movies though. So if you're happy with the DVD, I don't think the picture quality is going to be any improvement at all. I mean, I'm not going to bullshit you like TerraVision. It was shot on video, man. There's no way it can look any better. You got Itchy the Killer, which is available at Suncoast Video.
Ooh,
on here.
That was a pretty cool movie, though.
Dark Sky Films.
Since it came out, but
Dark Sky Films is still around. Now, do you remember these, Garrett? Because I picked these up. I think they're BCI. Eclipse was the company. These were some of the very early movies that were on Blu-ray, horror movies.
I don't have any of those, but I do remember them. Look at that. That's another ad. Like, I would take a photo of that. It says at the bottom, does it say something about Best Buy? Is that like an exclusive box set or something at the bottom of there?
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I don't have that. Is that Vengeance of the Zombies? What is that?
Exclusive 2-pack, Night of the Werewolf and Vengeance of the Zombies.
That's cool.
John Russo's movie making. He had his own college class.
Look at that, dude. See? Sick.
See, that's what I was saying. It was just an interesting time.
Yeah, it was.
To be around. And they had like a film forecast of stuff that was coming out through 2009 in this as well. Which all this stuff. Okay, so 2007, October the 7th. I'm sorry, October the 5th, Trick or Treat was supposed to be released in theaters, but it didn't happen. Yeah. You had other classics such as Alien versus Predator, Survival of the Fittest, which I guess that ended up being Requiem or whatever. One Missed Call, Amusement, the Prom Night remake, The Ruins, The Happening.
Ruins is great if you guys haven't seen that. That's underrated, man.
Yeah, I think The Ruins is a good one.
I don't know why no one's touched that movie at all. That's a real cool movie.
Yeah, so lots of stuff in this one. Talking about Day Watch. Do you remember those? What was those German?
Yeah, Night Watch and Day Watch. Yeah, they were that was a big thing for a while. People love that.
Yeah, so these are pretty thick magazines even back then. But you got to take into effect that this was like an $8.99 magazine. Just pretty pricey for 2007. Some movies they were reviewing. Dead and Deader. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Video Violence. Yeah. So yeah, that is issue 264, June of 2007.
All right, as you get the other one, I'll go through the chat really quick. Spicy 4K action. What is going on? What's up, Pablo? I remember it was a Day of the Dead ripoff. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but yeah. What's up, Scratch? He says, I love all the old DVD ads. I do too. Jason says, I would love to be on your show to talk genre magazines, physical media. I used to work for Culture Shock. Oh, that's cool, man.
Very cool.
Hit us up. Instagram's easy way to get a hold of us.
Yeah.
Ela. Hastings. Remember Hastings?
I love Hastings.
Yeah.
There was one not too awful far from me. But yeah, they sold a lot of used stuff and they had tons of horror movies and stuff, new stuff as well.
Jason says Severin is pricing me out of their releases. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I kind of feel the same way. Joel, what's up, man? He said, we're looking at Fangoria Mags back when I was skating in California, 1986. So you got all the good stuff back then. You got all the sick.
Yeah, if anybody out there has all the stuff from the 80s and even the early 90s, that stuff goes for big money.
Yeah, I saw that before I came on. They announced the 7 4K, and it's got like this crazy box and all this stuff. I don't know who's putting it out, though, but it looks pretty sick.
Yeah, that's one I'd probably get. I love that movie.
Midsummer Inflation. Let me see. Severin didn't use a hard rigid box for the last horror film. Severin didn't even use a hard I mean, at least they used a thick box for it. I mean, the last horror film box was way better than we got for the Four Flies. But I don't know what these new ones are doing. Like, I don't know what De la Muerte is going to look like.
I'm thinking it's similar to the last horror film release, but I may be wrong. But it looks like it's like that.
Mayor said, I remember getting that Hostel magazine from his local library. That's funny. Sorry, I lost my place here, but what's up, Master of All Movies Prestwood DVD collector?
There are like 121 people checking this out.
Sick. Thank you, guys. Jason worked at Suncoast. Rent was high in the mall, so prices were high as well.
Yeah, Suncoast was pretty expensive. Like DVDs were like $29 or something like that, I think.
Yeah, I remember that too. What up, Robert?
But Suncoast was probably one of the very first to kind of adopt the DVD format. Like they had DVDs very early on.
They did.
97,
Jackson Jack.
98.
Dude, you know what? I think I have that issue because I did do a year of subscriptions around that point, and I do have, I think, that magazine somewhere, which was like, I remember getting it in the mail and be like, what? It's crazy. Maybe he has it in here. Who knows? All right.
There's lots of cool stuff in these, man. So anyway, this one, the Resident Evil cover, Extinction. Which one is that? The second or third one?
Oh God, I don't
know.
I lost my place after part 2.
They're also talking about Rob Zombie's Halloween in this. This was September of 2007. So I'm missing, I think, a couple of issues in between here. I don't know what the deal was with that, but Halloween, The Last Winter, Uwe Boll, there's an interview with him, and there's an article on Trick or Treat on the cover here. And this is an early one too. I wonder, what year did the Halloween Horror Nights start? This is an ad for it.
It could have been maybe around that time.
It's like 2007.
I don't remember at all.
I don't know either, but yeah, lots of similar ads from the past issues, so I won't go over those. They're promoting the first season of Dexter, which was huge around this time.
Yep.
Love that show. That was one of the very rare shows that I followed all the way to the end, which the end was not very good, but Think Film, that was another company that was out around that time frame. Lots of ads from Anchor Bay. Like, for instance, We All Scream for Ice Cream, the Masters of Horror.
We'll be talking about that pretty soon.
Yeah. The very next, Valerie on the Stairs.
Listen to this, though. Speaking of Anchor Bay, Jason said at Suncoast, Anchor Bay had an end cap with Midnight Hour, Black Hole, and Something Wicked This Way Comes, which is all three of those is like hard to get on Anchor Bay for sure now.
Yeah, there's some huge issue with the Midnight Hour. I'm not sure what it is, but man, if you could go back in time and just buy all those, you could like retire at this point. No. Oh, I had this one. This was like right when we were getting Anchor Bay screeners. They had a ton of shitty movies like this, like Unholy. I think Lance Hendrickson's in it or something.
That somebody just released that. I think it's is that the same Unholy that came out from not Vestron? Is it a different Unholy? Is that Unholy? I don't remember.
I'm not sure. This will be an interesting article to check out. I know I'm hitting this a lot, but we got a whole article on Trick or Treat. Literally 2 years, like with photos and everything, before it officially came out. Photos and all that good stuff. So yeah. I don't give a single fuck about Resident Evil Extinction.
No,
I never got into those movies, man. I don't know about you,
but I didn't. I actually didn't mind the second one. I thought that was pretty fun. I did see the first and second in theaters, but then after that, I got out of it. Kind of the same way with there was another franchise the same way. What's that? Underworld? That kind of like the same thing for me. Like I saw the first two, and then I kind of was out of it after that.
Different Unholy, says Scratch Bueno. Check out this. This is a cool one.
It's awesome, man. See, like those are That's all Instagram material right there, man. Big
Instagram
content.
gold.
For
And
sure.
you'll like this one because this is a Synapse Films release that I know you're
Yeah.
a big fan of. Check that one out.
Black Roses. Damn.
Yeah.
That is sick.
That's one that'll probably never see the light of day.
How dare they?
Yeah.
Didn't they
'Cause
say they lost it in a flood or something?
I think that was the one where the director passed away
It was,
and
yeah.
he had the elements, but now like nobody knows where they're
Isn't
at.
that crazy to think about, like, people that have these kind of movies that, like, they pass away and nobody knows where, like, anything is?
Well, it's either that or they threw it out, man. Like
That's
they're like,
crazy.
oh, this is just some film print or whatever, not knowing what it is.
I mean, I guess when you don't ever think there's going to be these different formats coming out years and years later, I guess for some people it might not feel like what's the point.
Yeah, it's true. So yeah, and on the back, of course, was this ever in theaters? By the way, Hatchet.
It says on the top in theaters.
I know,
9/7.
but
I mean, I don't
recall it.
It could have been in select theaters. I didn't see it in a theater.
Harry Knowles from Ain't It Cool News. Remember him? What the hell ever happened to him?
I don't know, but somebody's asking about, speaking of Synapse, what's going on with the Trick or Treat release? The last I heard was it's being pushed back due to wanting to do more with the features. That's what I heard, but I mean, maybe Wes has different info than I do.
I haven't heard anything specifically. I do know some of the stuff that Felcher's posted. So I have a prediction of what it's going to be. I think the limited edition this time is going to be in a vinyl record size case.
Imagine that. I mean, that would be cool because it'd be different, but
yeah.
Then it's another one of those with how the hell do you display this thing? You put it with your vinyls, you know?
Well, I mean, they make frames where you can put it up that way, but yeah, after that, I mean, how are you going to watch it? It's not going to be that easily.
It would be cool if they did like a thicker vinyl maybe, and then just had like the case inside it, so then you could kind of have the best of both worlds. I guess you can take out the case and then. No, I didn't talk to Felcher about it. I talked to somebody else that was like a third party, basically. Yeah, somebody that's in the mix.
We don't talk to Felcher on a regular basis anymore.
It wasn't Felcher. It was somebody close to him that he was working with.
He's kind of a dick, Felcher is. I'm not going to lie.
Why are you going to say that? We got to do more of those. We got to do more of those Vestron years.
He knows he's a dick, though, but it's all good. So yeah, that is what September of 07 issue. Got a lot of these. 30 Days of Night. It's another one that nobody talks about anymore, man. Like that movie, it's almost like it was never made. Yeah, I like it too. October of 2007.
Jack's really hitting Slippy hard right now. He's Slippy puts over shitty Romero movies because he's in them.
Well, that's not true. He actually puts over like the old shitty Romero movies as well. And there are a lot of those too.
What up, kid? What up, Gothic? Yes, 30 Days a Night's killer. Mel says stop talking about her uncle like that.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't do that.
Yeah, we won't.
That's unprofessional of me. This is the Halloween Scariest Horror DVDs issue as well. So that'll be interesting to see. But they're also talking about Saw 4, Alien vs. Predator 2, Murder Party. That sounds familiar. What the hell was Murder Party?
Murder Party was that one where everybody kind of dressed up for Halloween and then like kidnapped that dude, like beat him up. It was kind of like a horror comedy. I think that was Murder Party. I think that's what I'm thinking of. But there was a couple with kind of a similar name.
Wrong Turn 2. It's in this one. Flight of the Living Dead. Do you remember that?
Yeah. It's like
they promoted the hell. Like we used to have this this ad system from Gorilla Nation or something like that was the name of it. I can't remember. But like each time like a new movie or a DVD or something would come out, like there would be different ads, but they would all match. Like you would have the vertical ad, you'd have the horizontal ad, the square ad. And yeah, I remember like what was it? Flight of the Living Dead. There was some other name to it. But yeah, that was one of them. Jesus Christ. You remember this? Sticky Fingers.
What, Blade the series?
Blade the series, yeah.
Yeah.
Now this is the cut that was too graphic for TV. What the hell ever happened to Sticky Fingers? Is he still out and rapping and stuff?
I don't know.
Oh shit. Uncle Bill, this is one of his favorite movies called Gag.
So that's a favorite of his. I don't think I own Gag on anything. That's sick, dude. When they send that to you guys, and he was like, "Give me that one."
Yeah, he's a big fan of Gag. VCI Entertainment, which is still around today, they were promoting Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, the 35th anniversary edition.
They're still promoting that thing. I mean, that movie was like MIA for years and years, and all of a sudden that thing started to come out like every year.
You remember this one? This one's actually not that bad. This is one that we were sent to review back in the day. It was pretty decent.
I remember it, but I don't know if I own that or nor have seen it, but I do remember that cover was hanging around.
I remember it not being too bad. I need to revisit it. It's a very low budget independent sort of deal, but
there was a lot of those back then though. I mean, there's probably a lot of them now, but I'm not digging for them.
Look at that.
What company?
I think it's Tartan and Genius Entertainment. So you've got a variety of stuff on here. Hannibal Rising. Nobody talks about that movie anymore.
No.
Wolf Creek, Pulse, the first Black Christmas remake from 06, which I recently watched again. Bottom Feeder, Dead Mary, Feast. Yeah,
there was a lot of those that were pretty big at that point. Feast and Black Xmas and Wolf Creek and all them.
Lots of Anchor Bay ads in here for Masters of Horror. Yeah, it was Flight of the Living Dead, Outbreak on a Plane.
So that was like they were taking off snakes on a plane at that point.
Right. Snakes on a Plane was hot. That made a ton of money. Somehow it did.
Somehow, yeah.
Yeah. I got a whole article on Wrong Turn 2.
I actually didn't. Well, yeah, that was like the reality show with like Henry Rollins, right?
Yeah. And that was where was that the debut of Three Finger? Or they actually gave him his name, I think.
I don't remember. That's another series that I lost a lot of contact with because they just kept making them.
There's like 6, right? There's our favorite.
Woo!
Little Miss Halloween, Danielle.
Love Danielle.
Splatter Beach from Camp Motion Pictures.
I actually do think I have Splatter Beach. I think that was part of it was part of you said Camp Motion Pictures, right?
Right.
Yeah, that was all that same shit with like the shot on video and all that stuff with like video violence and all those.
Cool. So yeah, I mean, lots of other movies that I've never heard of here. I was trying to find the horror DVD pics, but I don't see it.
And what was on the cover of that one? 30 Days a Night?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. If you want to get
Megan Franich, I think. Oh man, check this one out before we go into the next one.
Oh, I remember those. Those are the best.
Shriek Show.
Yeah, I remember those boxes. We said we were did we do a show on all those? I feel like we did. Or was it just kind of in passing? Because I remember like going and getting a bunch of them.
Oddly enough, I don't think I've ever had the Mutant Monster set.
It's got the Being and all that on it, right?
Yeah, the Dark, the Being, and Creature from the Abyss.
Those were awesome back then.
Cool.
All right, well, as you're getting the next one, I'll just throw through the chat here. What's up, everybody? Slippy likes Bruiser, says Jackson Jack. Jason says 30 Days a Night, a few original horror films. Let me see skills roll through. Jason says Killer Party is one of his favorite. Killer Pizza, what is going on? Scratch says the person who made Murder Party did Blue Ruin and Green Room. Not horror, but what do you think on Empire Records? I like that movie.
Yeah, I like Empire Records. It's pretty good.
Fozzie said, I lived in Myrtle Beach in 2007 and moved back to West Virginia. I can track that whole year, move by move, and movies I watched in the theater every weekend. Yeah, it was as much as like some movies were like, crappy that came out around that time. There was a lot, I feel like, because I feel like I was at the theater like every other week watching a horror movie.
The thing that I'm noticing about these magazines too is the movies repeat themselves each month. So it's like they're talking about Saw 4 in the next one quite a bit, and Alien versus Predator, Requiem, 30 Days a Night. But yeah, this was November. The Mist.
The Mist.
And so this was November of 2007. This is kind of freaking me out, man, because I didn't think this company was around that long. Look at the back. Severin Films.
Still getting that psychic money, huh?
The Psychic, yeah. 2007. Do you remember Severin being around that long ago?
Severin, I mean, I remember them being a company. I'm trying to think what I would have had from them, though, at that point. I don't know.
They had the Eroticists, and the Psychic is the only ones they're promoting on this one. And you can get Severin Films at Hastings, Diabolic DVD, deepdiscount.com, TLA Video, FYE was around then, and of course Amazon.com.
You know who had a big library at that time? Dark Sky was doing a lot of things back then.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a real big thing. Ooh, I love that. Oh, I have that series. Such a great show, man.
Yeah, that's another one that's probably never going to be remastered either. Like the rumor is that all that footage is lost or destroyed.
For Tales from the Crypt?
Yeah, Tales from the Crypt, because it was one of those shows that was shot on film, but it was edited on video. So they have the video masters, which you can't go back and remaster, but the film negatives and all that, nobody, they say they don't know where they're at, which sucks. But yeah, lots of you got a Saw 4 ad here. Those Saw movies really run together for me, man. I just can't.
After two, I feel like I lose what's going on. But I haven't rewatched them in a very long time.
Do you remember these sets? They were so
cool. Yeah, I have that Fly set. Yep.
Yeah, I have the Vincent Price set too. Even though all those have been upgraded at this point, that's still a killer set. Oh, and remember these from MGM, the Midnight Movies.
Oh yeah, those were money. They've a lot of them been re-released now. I think Scream Factory grabbed a couple of them. I mean, they've all pretty much been re-released, but those were fun. They had like Beast Within, I think, was part of that line.
Mm-hmm. Food of the Gods, I think that was one that I had, and how sweet is this one?
That Hellraiser slip. That was a slip on that one, I think, for Anchor Bay.
It was, and I think Anchor Bay also did around this same time period. The I think it was. Didn't they do the Blu-ray around this time period too?
Yeah, I think that instead of me buying that, I think I bought the Blu-ray that was part of the Cube. They came out with like the Cube set or whatever, and I remember there was a Blu-ray in there.
Yep, that's what I had too.
Oh, I have those Bava sets.
Yeah, so lots and lots of ads in this, which is cool. Do you remember the Tim Sullivan movie Driftwood with DDP? It's actually not that bad of a movie.
I don't.
They're talking about that in here. Yeah, DDP was the lead in that. It's actually not too bad, surprisingly enough.
Remember, he was getting a lot of love in his role in
Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, this was right around that same time period, maybe 2 or 3 years later. What'd you think of The Mist, though? There's a big article on The Mist.
Honestly, I have not rewatched it in a long time. I just recently got the 4K, but I haven't popped it in. I saw it in the theaters and I loved it. That ending is still one of the most haunting, freaky endings I've ever seen in my life. But it's depressing. It's a weird way to leave a movie. And I always thought it was really good, but again, I have not watched The Mist since probably it debuted on DVD, where they gave you like a black and white version or something like that. I watched that version of it, and then I haven't seen it since. So I don't know how it holds up now. I think it's a good movie, but I don't know if the effects hold up now or not. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think the ending of that movie kind of ruins it, like for rewatchability factor. So
I totally agree. At the first time you watch it, you're like, but then you think to yourself, like, I don't really want to watch that again,
Yeah. So continuing on, Dark Sky Films. You were talking about them earlier. Look at
Oh, yeah,
this:
the Eaten Alive,
Spider
Spider Baby.
Baby
Oh,
and
yeah.
Eaten Alive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have both of those.
They were definitely. They're still around, but they're really not doing anything
Yeah,
hardly
they just do
anymore.
what? Texas Chainsaw, and that's it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm just flipping through here, but yeah, lots of cool stuff from this time period. It's a time capsule because we were doing the show then, the
Mhm.
original podcast show and everything. So it's a lot of this stuff we were sent to review back in the day too, and you can probably find the reviews.
All
on
right, well,
the
as you're getting the
YouTube
next
page.
one, I'll pop back into the chat. Splatterville, what's up? He said, "You remember After Dark Films?" Oh yeah, is that the 8 Films to Die For? Right, that was them.
Yeah.
I do. Jackson Jack says we should set up an emulator system and we could play video games. I mean, I've really thought about doing something like that, especially when Friday the 13th and Texas Chainsaw and all that stuff. And I bought the stuff to do it. I just haven't hooked anything up yet to get it to work. So I've never tried it. Project Greenlight, when Feast was on it, I did not. Did you know anything? Do you know what that is?
Project Greenlight was like an early reality show, and I think it was they had maybe 2 or 3 seasons. The first season wasn't Nick Ben Affleck or something involved in it. Ben
I
Affleck.
don't even know what it is.
It was a reality show, but yeah, Feast was covered in the first season, I think, or they were covering the movie.
Fight the Good Fight likes Dead and Breakfast. What's up,
A lot of people.
Corey? Dead and Breakfast.
I don't know if I've seen it, I've completely forgot about it. I probably have seen it, but
The Undead from 2023. Yeah, that just got another release recently from somebody. Was it Vinegar Syndrome? I don't know. Somebody released that recently again.
yeah, I think it was one of the sub labels. All right.
Show me.
Yeah, this one I'm not going to really touch on very much. Is Alien versus Predator issue.
Mm-hmm.
Alien versus Predator 2 Requiem or whatever. And that's just, I think that movie soured me on Predator and Alien movies from here on out because I just didn't want to watch them anymore.
I totally agree with you. I saw Alien vs. Predator in the theater. Wasn't really impressed with it at all, and I never watched another Alien vs. Predator movie. I think there's a couple afterwards. I've never seen them.
Yeah. So no good. Lots of similar ads and everything. They've got a whole, and that was my issue big with Fangoria around this time, is they were covering movies they knew sucked. Why do you do that? I mean,
I think Alien vs. Predator was one of those movies that I think same as Jason vs. Freddy, not to the extent, but that was something people kind of always wanted because correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there a video game of that way back in the day on Genesis? And there was also Terminator vs. RoboCop. So I think a lot of those two were always ones that people secretly wanted to see them collide in like a movie format. So when they did Alien vs. Predator, like as much as it wasn't that great, I mean, it was something I think people were really looking forward to. So I think to promote it, was a good move on their part due to the fact that I think it's something the fans wanted at that point.
Mm-hmm. Some of the reviews in this, they were talking about the Red Sin Tower. That was that the final August Underground movie, or is that separate from August Underground? I don't even know.
You're talking to the wrong person. I saw one August Underground movie and I said, I'll never watch one of these fucking things again.
Another movie they cover in here that nobody talks about, and I think David Arquette directed, it's The Tripper. Do you remember that?
Oh, of course, dude. That was like that weed smoking slasher or whatever. I have that.
Yeah, wasn't
that
it
thing.
Ronald Reagan was the killer in it?
Was that what the mask was? Was it a Reagan mask in that? I think you're right.
So.
Yeah.
I was talking about that. DVD Dungeon, Basket Case 2. You remember I Know Who Killed Me with Lindsay Lohan?
I do remember that.
Talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's this issue here. Not going to try to speed things up a little bit. Issue 269, January of 2008.
I'll jump back to the chat. Mama Blu-ray, what is going on? Jackson Jack said no one effed. No, I'm just kidding. With the Bay, are you saying the Bay like the movie? I love the Bay, if that's what you're talking about.
Or Anchor Bay.
Oh, Anchor Bay. I love them too. Luke the Puke. What's up, man? Thank you.
Yogi.
You say, what's up, Pablo? Fango's demise kind of made sense since physical media started to go down, and all the ads you mentioned of DVD companies could very well have to do with it. Movie Hunter,
Yeah.
what is going on?
I
What
think
up,
Anchor
Back for
Bay
Blood?
paid for most of the ads in Fangoria Magazine, just looking through it. You know?
Yeah, you're right. There's a missed opportunity. He goes, why haven't they started a streaming service called Stream Factory? I don't know.
That is, they have some sort of streaming
Yeah,
service.
it's like Shout TV or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this one is 270
They
February
did.
of 08. Diary of the Dead. George Romero's
There
Diary of the
you
Dead
go.
made the cover. And inside is they're promoting the Dimension Extreme releases. Do you remember?
Extreme. Oh yeah.
Sub-label. Storm Warning there, and what is that one?
I was
Nightmare
getting all
Detective.
those things, man. Always the Black Sheep and all those things. Yeah.
It's weird that a lot of those movies haven't been re-released. Like Storm Warning's actually not too bad.
There was some good ones in there. I mean, it was weird though, because then all of a sudden I think it was like, didn't Diary of the Dead like show up on there or something? You're like, what the hell? Why is this on here?
Right. Yeah. Man-Eater series from Genius Products. Croc, Man-Eater, Blood Monkey, baby. Everybody loves Blood Monkey. Look at these.
I do remember those things. I remember Croc. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Blood Monkey.
Blood Monkey. Yeah, Dark Sky Films. We're talking about Rico the Mean Machine, which I think some of these titles, Tragic Ceremony is another one. I think Tragic Ceremony may have been re-released again from Vinegar Syndrome, but Rico the Mean Machine is like, I think that one's worth like a fortune now. If you've got it. This is another one that's interesting. If anybody remembers the history of this movie. The Poughkeepsie tapes in theaters, it says.
I do. That thing didn't hit.
Yeah.
I ran a bootleg of that forever. I thought it was like the coolest shit. Like finding one of those things. You had to like rip it off of like a website online.
Which it never got a theatrical release, but eventually Scream Factory released it. Wonder what the deal was with that. Did they ever say?
No, but I also remember too that also had a trailer in the theaters. That's the same thing like what happened to Trick or Treat. Like I remember seeing the trailer and be like, "Oh, what's this?" And then it just never came out.
Big article on the Mother of Tears, the Argento, which
that was part of the Dimension Extreme as well.
Yeah, it was another Dimension Extreme one that I think there's a Blu-ray overseas, but that one has never seen the light of day again here in the US.
Now, did you like that one? I don't remember a lot about it.
I think it's just okay. Like I didn't fall in love with it or anything, but I think it was decent from what I can remember.
Did you be like it? Do you remember?
I don't recall. I can't remember if we ever reviewed it or not, but I remember buying the Dimension Extreme release when it came out. But I don't know if we ever reviewed that one, oddly enough. So yeah, lots of articles about some of these movies at the time. Killer Pad, it was another one that Robert Englund directed. I think that was a big deal. Some of the ones they reviewed at the time. Do you remember the Killer Kid movie Joshua from 2007?
Not off the top of my head, but it does sound familiar.
Evil Dead Ultimate Edition from Anchor Bay. That was
the blue one.
Yeah. So cool.
That's very cool.
It was a pretty cool issue. Diary of the Dead, man. It's just slightly above Survival of the Dead.
This is a great one though. Jason says, "Didn't MGM sneak Clown House out on DVD?" It did because I own it. Definitely.
Yeah. That's another one that's worth a ton of money, but you can readily get a bootleg of that exact copy on Amazon for like $9.99.
What up, Huck? Says he loves Fango. Yes, Motel Hell and Deranged was in part of that series. Yep.
March of 08, Doomsday, the Neil Marshall movie, made the cover.
Dude, I don't even remember that movie.
I don't either, really. I don't think it is. Doomsday a horror movie? I don't think it is. I think it's
is that like kind of like the post-apocalyptic movie? Post-apocalyptic movie?
Yeah, I think it's almost like is it like a gladiator type movie too?
I think I remember that when that came out.
Yeah. So again, in this one, they're talking All the Boys Love Mandy Lane, which that was another one that was supposed to come out theatrically that never did.
That's another one I had to rip on the internet on like a torrent because like it was all hype and then it never came out. So I had a bootleg of that forever, and then I finally got it when it hit Blu-ray or whatever.
Some more Dimension Extreme goodness. Do you remember?
Extreme.
I remember we made fun of Automaton Transfusion, the name of one of the worst names for a movie ever. You will be afraid of Automaton Transfusion. Now, what the hell is it? I don't know. Yeah, so Tom Savini's special makeup effects program bought ads in like all these magazines. So cool. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the, oh man, do you remember this movie? Not very good either, but we kind of stole one of our names from.
I have movie. That WrestleManiac. Yeah, I was like,
WrestleManiac.
Wasn't that Rey Mysterio's father or somebody in that? It says Rey Mysterio, I think, on it, doesn't it?
It doesn't say, I don't think. Yeah, it is. The pro wrestling legend Rey Mysterio. I think it's his uncle, right?
I remember when I bought it, I was like, Rey Mysterio's in this? And I got it. I was like, he can't be him. This guy's huge.
It was an old man, yeah. Dark Chamber. Shockorama Cinema Pop Collection. Yeah, so again, lots of ads as well. Talking about, yeah, so this is when they finally released Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, but that was the artwork they went with, The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue.
I love that edition when it came out.
Yeah, that's probably one of the more underrated zombie movies of all time, I would think. We got 121 people in here, so we appreciate everybody tuning in. This is a little bit of a different show.
Yeah, hit that like button if you just popped in, guys. Make sure to subscribe over at DEADPIT on Instagram, on YouTube. Go check them out. And if you're on their channel and you're not subscribed to me over at Born to Be Rad, go check out the channel there. Appreciate you guys hanging out for sure.
Yeah, and let us know. I mean, we can do some more shows like this. Like, again, for anybody that's just now tuning in, this was a big lot of magazines that I got from a friend of mine for like, what, less than like $3 a magazine, I guess. So we got a pretty good deal. Do you remember The Rage, the Robert Kurtzman movie? I do remember
that. Yeah.
Very gory.
That was kind of a big deal when it came out.
It's a good movie. I like it at least. So yeah, big article on Doomsday. Just flipping through these, they're talking a little bit about the After Dark Horror Fest, the deaths of Ian Stone. I don't recall. A lot of those movies I don't really remember, to be honest with you. There's a Without Warning retrospective. That's a fun, goofy movie. They're reviewing in this one Tragic Ceremony, Spiral, Dark Chamber, bunch of shit I don't remember. You remember Shrooms?
I do remember Shrooms. Had like that weird cover with like, it looked like it was Shrooms, but it also looked like a skeleton or something, like a skull.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
That and The Tripper were like a nice double feature.
Yeah, none of those have ever been re-released either, I don't think. Or if they have, they haven't had a big... I'll check this out. They used to do this a lot in the old Fango magazines. Like the classified ad vault. Do you remember these? Like this? They would have...
Oh, the classifieds. Yeah. Like almost like little... You'd put your business in there almost like, right?
Right. So Rotten Cotton's in here.
Rotten Cotton.
The horrorbid.com. Do you remember that? They would have like big...
I do remember that.
Bottoms. Novemberfire.com. They had a lot of like cult movie shirts and stuff like that. I kind of remember that. Phantom Video. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. So yeah, that is continuing on here though. That is issue 271, March of 2008. Doomsday, baby. Anybody like Doomsday?
Horror Collective says Alien vs. Predator was a comic. Then Jackson Jack said it was also a video game. Movie Miyagi asked if we played the game Night Trap. Yes, I have that game still. It was one that I definitely played. Hard game. But I remember it was such a controversial game at the time. for Sega CD. Jamie Hart, what's going on, kid? We're way behind. Fozzie says Tripper rules. It was Reagan, and he killed Jay. Let me try to fly by here.
No, you're good. I think we're doing good time-wise. Be all right.
Mayor says he has vintage Fangos. Yeah, take pictures of him. I'd love to see him. Miyagi says, great Sato impression. Miyagi.
Coward.
It was part of the After Dark series. Frontiers was, yeah.
Yeah, Frontiers received a pretty killer release recently from Second Sight Films re-release.
Heading back to Universal One Road Studios in the month, going to check out the famous. That's so sick. I want to do that someday. What up, Austin? Mother of Tears is better than Dracula 3D. Yes.
Well, I don't know how much that's saying.
I do remember that.
Dracula 3D looks like one of those romance like paperback novel covers. If you remember the DVD cover for Dracula 3D,
I have the Blu-ray of Dracula 3D, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so I think it's the same cover. I think that was one that was in Dollar Tree, if I'm not mistaken. Dracula 3D was.
That might be where I found it, to be honest.
I don't know. Maybe the Blu-ray was there too. I think the DVD though.
Mayor says a little over a year ago, I found the Anchor Bay DVD tin set of Sleeping Corpses Lie, half price books, but I didn't get it. Yeah, I always am looking out for some of those. I need a couple more, but yeah, I'm always looking out for those just because they were so different. Yeah. J.A. said he had a worst nightmare about Van Halen. They had a new singer and he was eating donuts on stage and had powder dripping all over his shirt. Cool. UB loves Dracula 3D. That's his jam.
Does. Yeah, he's a big Rutger Hauer mark. Next one up, April 2008, cover of The Ruins.
Dude, I love The Ruins. I love that movie.
I think that one's underrated for sure.
Oh, God, yeah. It came out around the same time as like The Descent and all that. It kind of got buried a little bit because of things like The Descent, but I remember checking that out and being like, wow, this movie was really, really good.
I bought the Blu-ray of that for like literally $1.25 at Big Lots, brand new, like a year or two ago. I need to rewatch it.
That's the only Blu-ray it had, and I think that Blu-ray is probably hard to get now because I don't think I own that on Blu-ray. I have a DVD with like a lenticular slip that's pretty sick on it, but yeah, it's really underrated.
There you go. After Dark Horror Fest, we were talking about that. Nightmare Man is on there as well. Mulberry Street with the rats.
Mulberry Street.
The killer rats. Make Vincent Dawn happy. The Deaths of Ian Stone, Unearthed, Crazy Eights, Lake Dead, Borderlands. Yeah, they don't have Frontiers. Didn't Frontiers come out a little bit later?
I think there was like maybe like they did them in like sections, like maybe like they would release like 6 at a time or something like that, I think. Or 8 at a time, I guess you would say.
Do you remember this cover, Garrett? It was lenticular.
Oh, I have that. I have the lenticular DVD.
I think I have it too somewhere.
What a disappointment that thing was.
That's another one that they sat on for years before it came out, and you can clearly tell why. You watch it. So this is another Synapse. This was like the first of the 42nd Street Forever, which they don't really do that anymore.
I used to like those a lot.
Yeah, full of old like grindhouse movie trailers.
Stuff,
yeah. So yeah, lots of stuff coming out still. They were talking about on home video. You know, Code Red was bringing out Boarding House. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That one. And
Code Red was a real, in my opinion, Code Red kind of came out and was like the ECW of physical media at that point. Like it was like if you knew about it, you really had to kind of work to get it. Like I owned a lot. Like I remember I used to collect them by the numbers on the spine, and I must have had, and I still have tons of them. But what I've been doing is every time I get a new version of one of those movies, I pull it out. So if anybody out there is like a Code Red completist, like I have a bunch of DVDs that I'm looking to try to sell from that line because it was a hard line to get because it wasn't something you get in stores really. I mean, once in a while you go to Best Buy and see one sitting there as an exclusive. I don't know how he pulled that shit off, but you used to go to like the big cartel to get your stuff. And look at that.
40th anniversary of Night of the Living Dead. Some of those people are no longer around.
How sad is that, man?
Yeah. So you've got George Romero, unfortunately, passed away. Bill Hensman, I think he passed away. George Casana, the guy that says they're all messed up, I think he died too, didn't he?
I don't know.
Yeah, Angus Scrimm was at that show as well. So he's no longer around either, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm like you. I don't understand why there's not a Fangoria weekend of horrors. I mean, they don't have to call it that. They can call it something else.
But I think if they called it that, I think that would even be a bigger deal, right? Like, and you just got to find a couple people to do it. You know what I mean? You just got to put your name on it. And I think, what's old is what is it? What's old is new again, I guess. So like that, I think would attract people just by name value.
Well, I was saying if they can't legally use that because of Creation Inc. or whoever.
Oh, they can't use. Oh,
I don't know. I don't know if they can or not, but yeah, I mean, they're talking about some French horror, top 13 French frights. I'm not going to even attempt to say these names because I'm from Kentucky, boys. But yeah,
The Ruins.
April 2008, 272, The Ruins. There's lots of theatrical stuff coming out. Well, we're about halfway through.
Halfway. Let's get this thing going.
Maybe. Yeah, I want to go real quickly on this because I'm not a fan of Hellboy or Hellboy 2 made the cover.
Why did that make the cover?
No idea. We're also talking about The Happening, The Incredible Hulk, all enough.
Oh my God, that must have been a real turn for the worst at that point. I mean,
the Stuart Ward movie
on?
Stuck. Do you remember that one?
Stuck? No.
That's where Mina Savari or whatever is in it. I can't remember the plot of it really, but I think
Stuck. Do you have a cover? Does it show a picture of it?
No, it's just on the cover here.
That's crazy. Too much talking, Wes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get me something else to drink here in a minute.
Susperian Knight said that's like Hooba Stank making the cover of Rolling Stone.
It really is.
That's
so yeah, this is pretty cool. Anchor based stuff that was coming out around that time.
That steel, but that was a steel book, baby.
That was an early steel book, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Erotic Werewolf in London. Who in the hell was making these? This is like softcore.
Yeah, I was like, what was the other one they did? Like Sexorcist and stuff.
Chantel and The Erotic Diary of Misty Monday. Who in the hell released these? Alternative Cinema. Okay. You remember Misty Monday had to change her name back to whatever her real name was?
I don't.
Here you go. Lucker the Necrophagus.
I remember the cover, but I do not own that, I don't think.
We were kind of making fun of that one for many years. Fear Itself. Now, this was the short-lived like spin-off from Masters of Horror that was
you liked the case of the set.
Yeah, it was like made like almost like a Hallmark card or something.
It's like the same material as you would get like the chocolates in, like that you'd have like Valentine's Day.
Yeah. So in this issue, they're talking about Frontiers. Fright World. Do you remember that one? I don't.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So continuing on, they're talking about The Happening. We don't care about that.
Look at the tree.
So what's going on in the chat? And I'll get the next one.
Yeah, nothing really. I think after you showed Hellboy, everybody didn't want to. Had nothing else.
Hellboy, what the heck? Dude? Like that's one of those franchises where I just don't care. I don't want to watch those movies. I've never seen them. I haven't either. I've never had an interest in watching those.
It's funny because like you just showing the Hellboy, and then the only comments we're getting through is Joel just says, "I'm drinking beer." Like that's the enthusiasm of this whole thing. Yeah.
Well,
Mayor says he has that Argento Steelbook. Yeah.
Yeah, I still got it too.
Same.
I think that's the only way you can get. Is it the Hitchcock? Do you like Hitchcock?
Yes.
There's one of them that's never been
I think it was that. No, it was You're right. There is something. They're not Card Player, right? something else.
Yeah, Card Players come out. I think
That's what we're gonna have to do because after
Trauma's in
Hellboy,
that.
we lost like 5 people watching. So Hellboy's not putting butts in seats. So I think they said Matt says you got to give us some Jim Ross and Jarvis commentary at some point to get people back in the door.
Throw hellfire brimstone! I got it's Hellboy! Everybody run!
He's going straight to hell.
Next one up though, August of 08, 276, 275. It's dark in here. Mirrors, boys. What do you remember about Mirrors?
I remember walking out of the theater, to be honest.
Kiefer
I went there.
Sutherland.
I went there the first night, not a Thursday, but a Friday. And because I was like, oh, Kiefer Sutherland's back in horror. This is gonna be so sick. And then I remember like halfway through, I look over. I always say this, but and Mel always talks shit to me. I was on a date and I remember looking over and be like, you want to get the hell out of here? And they're like, yeah. It was not good, but I have not gone back and tried to watch it again. So I don't know if it holds up. I don't know if it's better. I don't know what kind of mindset I was in at that point, but I remember walking out of the theater, which I never do ever.
They did like a quick direct to DVD sequel too. Foz mentioned the sequel. The sequel is bad as well, but I don't know which is worse. They're both pretty awful.
I don't think I ever went back and watched the sequel. I don't even know if I own Mirrors. I doubt it because I don't remember. I don't think I've seen it since I left that theater, which is unfortunate because, man, I freaking love Kiefer Sutherland, right? So I was really going into it, but it was around that weird time where it was like just way too CGI going on at that time. It just was really turning me off.
Yeah, it's not very good. You'll like this back ad here. The return of Corey Feldman.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. You know what though? I'm gonna say, is that my ideal Lost Boys sequel? No. Do I hate that movie like everybody else does? No, I don't hate it. I think it's fine. I think it's all right. I mean, again, it's not what I wanted, but it's I don't think it's hot garbage.
Is that the second one or the third one? I can't.
Second. I actually like that one better than the third one. The third one is the one that everybody liked better. Everybody was happier with that because you had like the Frog Brothers together again. This one is the one where Haim is at the end and Jameson Newlander's and like the deleted, like in like the after credit scene or whatever, driving like the car down the road. But I think as a whole, the story was a little bit cooler in the second one, just because it felt a little bit similar to the Lost Boys than I think part 3, which was like taking place at like a rave and all this other stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen the third one, to be honest with you. But maybe I should check it out. But yeah, I don't really. Maybe I need to rewatch the second one. I don't know. Who knows?
I'm not saying it's a good movie. I'm just saying a lot of people despise that movie. I have that little skull, dude.
Season 2 box set. Nobody does this anymore. Like specialty packaging. Like they don't even attempt it really, do they?
No.
Maybe it's where they're not doing nearly as many, and it would probably cost them a small fortune to do it. So thank you very much, baby.
Look at that, get a little peachy
in here. I got another refreshment. All right, so continuing on. Yeah, I'm not really seeing too much in this other magazine here. The Man-Eater series continues. Look at this. Yeah, this was a pretty cool ad. Faces of Death coming soon. That was when the Blu-ray came out, I think. Michael Felcher was involved in that.
It's funny. I don't know. I don't own those movies at all.
I have the original one. I don't think if they did Blu-rays of the sequels, I never pick those up. And if you didn't get enough of Hellboy last month, there you go.
Golden Boy. It says Golden Boy. It's not like a sequel.
I can't stand that shit. You're talking about the X-Files movie, I Want to Believe.
Ooh, I love the X-Files.
Yeah, so some movies are talking about Jekyll and Hyde, The Lodge, Alive or Dead. We're talking about Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, which that's the Mummy movie that I've never watched. I think Jet Li is in that or something, isn't he?
I've never seen it.
I haven't seen it either. So yeah, I think we can wrap up this issue here. But again, August 2008, lots of ads, Tom Savini School, and it has mirrors on the cover. I'm sure they didn't sell many. This is a really thin edition as well.
They knew what they're like, yeah, this one ain't selling. Let's just get it out there.
You got to think they were doing it every month still at this point.
It's tough. It's tough to talk about everything once a month like that for sure.
Maybe in the chat you guys know, but I don't even think I think Rue Morgue was doing like bi-monthly at this point, right? They weren't doing every
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is another one where I've seen this movie, and it's got, I guess, some sort of fan base, but the September 08 issue 276, Jack Brooks Monster Slayer. It's another thin issue, though. Not a lot in this.
Yeah, I mean, that I wasn't a huge fan of that. I mean, I know it had a pretty big following at the time, but a little too oaky for me, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the Rise of Leslie Vernon's another one. Like, people really, really love that movie, and I was like, it's okay. But
I mean, I'll tell you this: I have not seen that movie since it came out on DVD. So it's for me to even tell you much about it, I really don't remember because it's been that long since I've seen it. I only watched it that one time.
This is a great ad. The sequel with balls.
That is a real cool ad, actually.
That's Anchor Bay's DVD of Phantasm 4.
So Matt came in late. He said, pull out some 80s ones. So the ones that he got in this box are more like early 2000s in there, we found out. So
yeah, the final days of Tony Timpone, which, I mean, if you guys like this sort of thing, I have plenty boxed up, and I'm sure Garrett has some too, right?
I don't have a lot of Fangos. I mean, I took this one out just to do a post on, but because it's my favorite one, is this.
Yeah.
This classic one here. But you know what I was thinking as you were doing this? I was like, we could kind of flip it, and then next time you kind of host, and I'll go through. I have a whole box right here of the 80s wrestling mags, 80s and 90s.
Hell yeah. I'll be all over.
I don't know if anybody cares about old WWF magazines, but I got a box right next to me full of them.
Man, this issue fucking sucks. There's nothing really that cool in this issue. I'm going through it. Yeah, they got book reviews. No, I'll pass on that. They've got some more ads, Diabolic DVD, bmovie.com.
Scratch wants to know if you got an issue with the Fog remake on it.
I do. I have that issue somewhere, but it's not in this lot. I think that, what year was the Fog remake? Like 05?
I don't even know. Man.
So yeah, this is not one of their best issues, Fangoria. So 115 people still in the chat, though. We appreciate everybody tuning in and everything for sure. I'd have like a handful left. Y'all ready? Y'all ready for this?
Let's see what we got.
All right. Quarantine.
So that's
I don't
that's
even
the
remember
remake
that.
of Wreck. I'm pretty sure.
Quarantine is fuck. I don't even remember Quarantine. I was thinking of Cloverfield. What the hell?
No, I think Quarantine is the US version of Wreck. I believe it was. It's basically almost shot for shot, except they have all new actors and whatnot. I'm pretty sure that's Quarantine.
Okay.
Wreck was that series. It was a really good series, and they started making American ones, basically just ripping off those stories, and they were called. I think it was called Quarantines.
Yeah, I'll have Quarantine. Wait, is Jennifer Carpenter in Quarantine?
There is a famous girl as the lead. Quarantine is the exact remake of Wreck. Yeah, so it really is shot for shot, pretty much, of Wreck, but it's in English and it's American cast and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I've got it. I've seen it, but I'm just getting it confused with something else, probably.
Nick B asks, do we have the WNUF part 2? I don't. I never got that. But he said it's $30, a little steep. Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about that earlier, where it's like, dude, $30 and $40 is going to be the norm now, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, I think that is probably didn't TerraVision do the Blu-ray of the first one?
They did,
So
yeah.
I'm sure eventually they're going to be like a matching Blu-ray edition of that one as well.
Yes, they said Jennifer Carpenter was the lead in Quarantine.
Okay, so I kind of remember it. This one you have, I think, Garrett. I think you have this one.
What?
Didn't you have that in the
Oh,
video
yeah.
that we did?
Oh, yeah. That's cool, though, man. Like I said, like I would be snapping pictures of those ads and posting them up.
Yeah, I'll go through this stuff. But yeah, I mean, Anchor Bay was coming out with all kinds of different editions. They re-released Halloween and Evil Dead like dozens and dozens of times over the years. You remember Bloodsucking Cinema, the documentary they did on vampire movies?
I don't. What does it look like? Is it show a DVD for it or no?
Yeah, we got an ad for it.
No, but I would love to get it now. I'm gonna
Bloodsucking Cinema, baby. I sold some of those on. I think I got a bunch of them sealed to give away or something. I never did. I ended up selling them.
I'm gonna have to look it up because I'd love to look that.
I think you can get that for next to nothing now, though.
Well, Joel asked me if I have seen the rental. I haven't. I'm gonna look it up. If it's from Shout Factory, I don't own it, so I might as well just pick it up. I can get it at a decent price.
The Rental. Oh, yeah.
It's a newer movie, and a lot of people seem to have liked it. I just never checked it out.
So some of the new releases, there's a ton, man. Like DVD chopping list. Like, look on one page there. Those are all releases, man, for that month.
So I guess when we say it's never been like this, I guess it was.
Yeah, Sundown, The Vampire and Retreat, They
I
Wait,
remember that, yeah.
Vampire Apocalypse, Yeti, A Love Story. It's a trauma movie.
The Yeti.
Yeah. Brotherhood of Blood, baby. Dance of the Dead, if you will.
The Yeti.
Lots of stuff. Yeah.
Remember It Waits from Anchor Bay?
Right. Yeah, Anchor Bay. Joyride 2, Dead Ahead. Do you remember that one?
I remember Joyride 2, but I don't remember like what it's about.
You remember Last House in the Woods? That was like an After Dark horror.
I do.
Fest.
It was actually not bad. Well, I'm trying to think.
Wasn't
maybe I'm thinking of Yellow Brick. No, Last House in the Woods I think was okay.
Wasn't that like a foreign movie of some sort though? Wasn't it like subtitled?
I don't remember. I do own it. I can tell you that much. It was part of like a certain line, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was After Dark Horror Fest or something like that. Slam Dance 2009 Film Festival, boss. I bet Jay Real entered some stuff in that one. An American Crime with Elliot Page now.
American Crime, does that got Scout in it?
No, it's got Catherine Keener and Elliot Page. See?
I know, there's something with Scout in it. I'm trying to think what it was, though. Maybe she's in
What is this? Now, I've seen this before. It's got... oh, yeah, it's True Blood, man. True Blood.
I love True Blood. I loved True Blood. I haven't finished the series, though. I got out of it probably... I have them all. I probably should go back and rewatch them because I was really hardcore into that for a few seasons.
It started hot and it went for a couple of years and stayed, and then it kind of like fizzled out. Like a lot of series do that.
I kind of fell out of it maybe around season 5, I think. Quarantine.
That looks ridiculous. But yeah. Dance the Dead. So big articles. I mean, this is kind of like, I'm curious if they still have these big articles in the new Fango magazines.
I have a bunch over here.
Pretty huge articles on some of these movies. They got one on Last House in the Woods we were talking about. Because the magazines now, and I'm curious too, because they're way thicker, you said, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is there a lot of ads still in them or no?
I can go grab one. Hold on.
Okay. I remember American Crime being pretty damn good. I think I still have that somewhere. Based on a true story, it says the DVD of the month was Pumpkinhead. Up there, the MGM Pumpkinhead release. Sweet. So which issue you got of the modern Fango there?
So the modern one I have, this is from 2022, and it's got Leatherface.
Ooh, that's a sharp cover. I'll give you
Yeah,
that.
and it says on it, the untold story of horror's greatest trailer, Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. That's a pretty cool concept to talk about in this, because the trailer for that movie was so freaking wild with like it almost like looked like you were watching like a medieval movie, whatever.
Like
with
Excalibur or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's nice about these though, I mean, they are thick and they are very like this cover's like very thick. It's not like a paper cover or whatever. But I can tell you what's going on in here. Let's see what's on the back. So again, yeah, they got an arrow, little thing on the back. New year, new cult. Let's get some new Arrow movies in there. You got Scream TV, a little Scream Factory TV. That must be their streaming service.
So it's looking to me like all of the pages are pretty thick.
They are thick,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
They show wanted more readers like, thanks to Mark Phillips and Nightmares Unlimited, providing this beautiful reference model for Gary Pullen's Leatherface art. This issue, see what Mark's up to. I don't know, but they got the real Saw someone posted right there from part 3. Let me see what they've got going on here. They've got different ads, podcasts, Stephen King podcast. They've got a little article on different movies like Magic. Remember that movie Magic from back in the day?
Right. Yeah,
They
with
got that.
Anthony Hopkins.
Yep. Scream Queen. It's talking about Barbara Crampton, who I love, by the way. Slasher Nation. You Can't Kill the Boogeyman. It's talking just about different slashers. So you got like Art and Michael Myers.
Very cool. So yeah, I mean they have a lot longer period of time to get these together because there's
Right.
like 4 per year.
Yeah. Then this is just like, it's called Killing It, the 2022's best deaths in horror movies. So you have things like, let me see what they've got. Number 10 was Scream. Number 9 was Margot. Number 6, I don't know what this is. Pussy Cake. I don't know what that is.
Pussy cake, baby.
Number 7, Halloween Ends.
That
Number
sounds like
8,
my favorite flavor.
Chucky's Show. The Sadness. Number 5. Number 4, Barbarian. Number 2, Studio 666. Number 3, Texas Chainsaw. The new one where he's on the bus. And then number 1 is Terrifier 2.
So did you say you subscribed to it? You said
I did. I subscribed for a year. Yeah.
What was the subscription price? Because they're charging
man.
what, $20 a piece for the.
I don't even
You
remember.
don't remember?
No. I think, you know what it was though? I think what I did was, the reason I bought it was because I think it said if you buy it now, you get 4, like back issues. So I was like, you know what? I'll get it because I've wanted it, and then I'll get these 4 free issues or whatever. But this is cool. They've got a big Megan article. What's this poster?
It's a poster, man.
So they have a big article on Megan, so really cool.
So yeah, it looks like they're focusing a lot on the presentation of it a little bit.
Yeah, it looks
more.
beautiful. I mean, it was really well done. Talking about different movies, I'm trying to see. So then they got the Leatherface article here, and they're going through frame by frame, which is cool because they got all the different. It's almost like the images of what their plan was with it. So, Cocaine Bear, they're talking about. There's not many actually, there's not many physical media ads or anything because there's nothing to talk about.
Right.
So,
I was curious if like Vinegar Syndrome was purchasing any ads.
I didn't see anything. What's this poster? I don't even know. What the fuck? Float, baby.
Hashtag float.
Float. Float. I don't know anything about float.
Root beer float. Those are good. Yeah, I was just scanning through this issue, so we'll move along. But yeah, November 08, 278, Saw 5. I have nothing to say about Saw 5.
I don't remember it.
But other stuff in there, you see Team Edward there on the front. They were covering
Woo-hoo.
that. I'd be ashamed. They did mention Let the Right One In. That's another classic, man, that nobody references. A winter horror movie as well. So that may be a good one to go back and do like some sort of special retrospective review on or something. Maybe.
Sure. And then you could even bump through the remake, which was not bad at all either.
Right. Repo, the Genetic Opera was on this time.
That was a big deal when that came out, that musical.
Splinter.
I remember that. Splinter was all right though. It was decent.
I'm sure I've seen it, but I can't recall what it is. But yeah, I mean, there's MGM ad in here. It's kind of cool. But other than that, you know,
I love those ads. Turistas.
Talking about a bunch of movies that I don't really care about. Now, we had a lot of fun with this one. I think we did an on-the-road review for this one on January 2009 issue 279, baby. The Unborn. Jumbie, he wants to be born.
I don't think I've seen that. Was that the one with Angelina Jolie?
No, I don't think this one has anybody that anybody would know in it.
Unborn. I know the old movie Unborn.
Yeah. This is, I don't even really remember the plot, but it's just really bad. Jumbie wants to be born right now.
Jackson just said that.
I remember that. Yeah, because Uncle Bill said that in the review. I do remember that.
He said, not tomorrow, not in a minute, right now.
Right now. Damn you. My Bloody Valentine 3D was around this time. They have an early photo of the new Jason from Friday the 13th remake, which ended up being the last Jason to date, at least. So, yeah, let's see what kind of photos they've got in here of Perkins 14. They're talking about that.
No, you know what I'm thinking? Wait, sorry. Angelina Jolie, was she the Changeling? Was that the remake she was in?
I don't think that's a remake, though. I think it's just called The Changeling. It has nothing to do with the... I haven't seen it, of course. But yeah, they do have a pretty decent article on the new Friday the 13th movie, which I think was coming out. What did that come out in February of that year or something?
Who, Jason?
Yeah, the new Friday the 13th. Defacing Jason.
Too bad that never mounted anything.
I think this was a pretty big hit, though.
It was, but it just never, like, I talked to Derek Mears about it, and he was all excited because he's like, yeah, we signed on for like 3 movies, at least.
Yeah.
And he only ended up doing the one.
That's a shame, really. Because think of, like, it's been, at this point, what, 14 years? Close to 14 years? With no Friday the 13th movies at all. Nothing.
It's been under those, you know, it's been in like court all this time, which, so I'm hoping that when it does come out, you know, people are still excited for it. But now it's like, it's been so long. It's like, what do we do? Are we going to go rehash the whole damn story all over again?
I think it would do great if it come back out.
Oh, I think it's going to do fine, but I'm thinking, I just don't know what avenue they take for it.
Check this one out. Dark Sky Feeling.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
The first Blu-ray of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So yeah, it's a pretty cool issue. It's got some cool stuff in it. Big feature on the Unborn. Need to go back and,
you know, I gotta check and see if I own that because I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there were so many of those oddball movies that today would never see the light of day in theaters, but back then, you know. So, all right, we got 3 more issues left, boys.
Let's do it.
This is a big one, man. I didn't know this one was in here. This is the Friday the 13th cover.
That's cool.
With Derek Mears there, who we did interview on the show back in the day. Very nice guy.
Very nice guy. I say that all the time. I'd met him a couple times and he was so nice. But I've also heard he's been a little bit off. I saw something where somebody was trying to film him at a convention. He was like, no, turn that off. And people were like, oh, he's so rude.
He was in
or whatever.
a bad mood that day.
I mean, why shouldn't he be? The guy signs on for all these big franchises. It just gets canceled. I mean, He's like, I'm Jason, canceled. I'm Swamp Thing, canceled. Like, poor bastard, like, can't catch a break, you know?
Yeah. They're talking about Supernatural in this issue, My Bloody Valentine, 3D, the Uninvited remake, Donkey Punch. Remember Donkey Punch?
I don't remember Donkey Punch.
Amusement, Underworld, Rise of the Lycans. Yeah, this was not the best time to be a horror fan, really, but there was lots of stuff to watch, you know. Another big ad from our boys at Synapse, 42nd Street Forever. They were burning it up. They did like 4 or 5 volumes, like right in a row, and then they just ran out of stuff to put on those DVDs, I think.
I do remember Bitch Slap. I actually liked it because I'm a big fan of that girl, America, that's in the Friday the 13th remake, and she was in that.
His name was Jason.
That's cool. What does it say on there? Exclusive slipcover from Best Buy? What does that say?
Special 2-disc set, features 4 hours of... It just says it's available at Best Buy.
Oh, that's cool. It's a cool ad.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get a scanner.
Mm.
I guess I could just take pictures of this shit, though.
Yeah, just take pictures and crop them.
Dead of Night from Dark Sky Films. I don't remember that. Ooh, they've got As Heard on Fangoria Radio. That was when Fangoria Radio was on, what was it, Sirius or XM or something like that? I don't know. I never did listen to it. So yeah, Midnight Movie. They're talking about, they got the big article on the Friday the 13th 09.
Oh yeah.
Like 4 or 5 page article there.
What up, Nick?
Hello, Nicholas. Black Swarm. Jesus Christ, man. They were really burning it up with these man-eater movies. This one starred Robert Englund. Robert Englund did a lot of those like generic horror movies around this time.
Then, yeah.
Spider's Web, Vipers, Croc, Eye of the Beast, Grizzly Rage, Shark Swarm, The Hive. Anybody in the chat like shit like that? I'm just curious. There has to be an audience for that shit. But yeah, the Friday the 13th article is gigantic.
What up, Retro?
It's a pretty big article. It'd be cool to go back and look at that. But yeah, other stuff, you know, like book reviews, who cares? Yeah, so it's a pretty neat issue of Fango. They're reviewing The Alphabet Killer.
I remember that, yeah.
You remember Para, the Lucio Fulci Remembered DVD?
Mm-mm.
It was like just a DVD of interviews. Madhouse. So yeah, I remember this. I may actually have another issue of this. If so, we'll do like a giveaway or something.
Woo!
So, but yeah, I mean, that would be a cool thing to get Derek Mears to sign at a convention for sure. Little Nicky. Did it just come out on Blu-ray?
Yeah.
Really?
Scream Factory.
So this was March of 2009, and they changed the logo up a little bit. They tried to modernize it with this.
Yeah,
one.
I didn't like the way it looked. It had like weird hooks in it and all that stuff. Yeah.
And this one has martyrs on the cover. Which that's an interesting choice to put something like that on the cover. Like, I love that movie and everything, but that's definitely not a mainstream horror movie at all.
No.
You know,
it's like you go from that and then you go right into, like I said, I think in 2009 or 2010 is when you get like Twilight on the cover. So they were just throwing whatever on that at that point.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to put something like that on there to encourage people to watch, because that one will smack you right in the face immediately.
Martyrs? Oh, yeah.
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 Talking about the Last House on Left remake, which I think we all kind of like that one. The Watchmen was around this time. Bad Biology, which recently came out from not too long ago from Severin, right?
Severin, yep. Nice addition, too, if you like that movie. It's almost like it was like a digibook or something.
The
Media
logo
book.
changed, but the ads didn't. Do you remember this one here? Didn't. Yeah, this is the one that Bruce Dickinson wrote. Crowley from
I
Anchor
remember
Bay.
Crowley, yeah.
We reviewed that back in the day.
It was like was it a movie or a doc?
It's a movie.
Okay.
Yeah, Tom
I'm thinking of the movie.
Savini.
I'm thinking of the documentary. Remember the documentary Cropsey? You remember that came out around that time?
What was it about? I think so.
I don't remember. It was like might have been like some kind of like urban legend or something like that.
Cropsey. I think I've seen that. That sounds familiar. Fangoria Weekend of Horrors, man. Look how cool this would have been to go to. It's in Chicago. Look at those names. Toby Hooper, George Romero, H.G. Lewis, Rogero Deodato. I think it's Lamberto Bava.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. Very cool.
The thing was, I was going to conventions at that time, but they never. I mean, I met Romero and all that. I actually even went to a convention that had Argento, but I didn't. Unfortunately, I didn't get him.
Why?
His line was so long, and I had so much to do, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go back and get him later. And then it just the weekend ended up ending, and I just never went back.
I'd say he's too old to do conventions now, though, wouldn't you? He's like in his 80s.
This must have been like 2010, 2011.
Do you remember Plague Town?
Yeah, I do remember that.
That's David Gregory. He directed that. That's his horror movie.
Wasn't that supposed to be was that the one? There was something that came out that I think was supposed to be like a loose sequel to something else.
I'm not sure about that one. I know I think it was Dark Sky that released it originally, and Severin has released the 4K of it or something like that. But yeah, reviewing 100 Tears, Midnight Meat Train. You remember that one?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mirrors on DVD, Red Mist. So, yeah. That's a pretty cool cover, though.
It is a cool cover.
I got one more left. If anybody has any questions or anything, holler at us. And because, yeah, we've got this timed almost perfectly, man. Professional here. DEADPIT and Born to be Rad.
2-hour time limit.
This is a sweet cover. And I think we've said nice things about these movies.
I love Laid to Rest, man. I do.
Laid to Rest. Yeah.
I really do like that. I think that's a fantastic movie. Part 2, Chrome Skull was not as good, I don't think, but I thought Chrome Skull was a pretty cool character. And the dude who played him, Nick, like is like from my area and all that other junk. So I'd met him a bunch of times, and I like that movie so much. I actually bought the replica knife, and I have it here. And it came in on display and all that stuff. Yeah.
Where'd you get that at?
Man, when that movie came out, I searched for it because it was so unique. It had like the blades on the sides and stuff, and I got it on like eBay or something, maybe a site, but it's a real knife. I look at that thing and I said, this thing would like destroy somebody because it's got blades like inside the knife. It's wild. And it came in a display stand and stuff. I just have it boxed away because, I don't want anybody getting their hands on it that shouldn't have it. But before I had it displayed up, it's pretty sick.
Jack's asking about something on here I wanted to mention because a lot of people asked about the cult stream that we did a week ago. It's actually up in podcast form now, Jackson Jack. If you want to check it out and you're not a patron or anything, it is on the podcast feed, so you can at least listen to it. But there was some shit on there that I just knew that somebody would probably like whine about, so we just took it off YouTube.
Makes sense.
Yeah, you've rubbed off on us a little bit, Garrett. I knew that people would frown upon some of that stuff. So
instead of getting canceled when you wake up in the morning, you figured let's just take it down and give it to our OGs.
Honestly, I wouldn't have, but Uncle Bill kept bringing it up, and I was like, well, what in the hell? And I was thinking about it, and I was like, yeah.
He kept bringing up like taking it down?
Yeah. To me. And I was like, well, what in the hell did I even say? I don't even remember. And I was like, yeah, I guess people would. It wasn't anything like outrageously bad, but you know how people are now.
But is it on Patreon or no?
It is. The video is up for patrons and members on the YouTube page, which we don't really promote very much, but yeah, we do have memberships on there that you can check out, like the MWO podcasts and commentaries and stuff like that on YouTube. Not Quite Hollywood. Do you remember that documentary they're talking about that?
I do remember that documentary. Yeah,
Aussie horror. So yeah, this was April of 2009. They're talking about a ton of different releases. The Burrowers, you remember that one? That one's not too bad.
The Borrowers, Borrowers.
Burrowers.
See, I came in and I cleaned house, and yeah, I told UB he's the PR.
He kind of is, because like with me,
your role is your PR. Figure it out.
The Wild Wild West internet days I miss, because like that was where you didn't have to think about what you were saying. You just said it, right? But now things are a little bit different. You got to be careful because everybody gets so easily offended here. Look at this. Look how cool that is.
I'm telling you, Laid to Rest is a cool ass movie, and I don't think it's gotten a Blu-ray release. I don't believe.
Chrome Skull is out on Blu-ray. I think they released that when it came out. Was it Anchor Bay? It was Terminator Salvation. Huh? I actually think of all the Terminator sequels, that's the closest one to being actually decent. Like since part 2, of course.
I get confused with all of them, to be honest, after part 3.
This is the one that Anton Yeltsin, you know, the guy that passed away, had that car accident and died. He was
John Connor.
No, Kyle Reese in it, like a young Kyle Reese.
Which is this the one where like they had the Arnold at the end, like a super CGI one?
Yeah.
Okay, I did think that was okay.
And that Sam, God, he was like in Avatar, I think, and he was kind of hot there for 5 minutes, like an Australian actor. He was in it. Was he a Terminator? I don't know.
I forget.
Sam Worthington was his name. They mentioned it in here.
With Christian Bale.
That Christian Bale's he's in this, but he's not really like, I mean, the
he's John Connor though, right?
Right. He's John Connor, but he's not really featured in it that much, I don't think, unless I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, I think he was in part 3.
Yeah, they talk about the Burrowers in here. Let's burrow it, baby. Yeah, so really as these issues went along, they become less and less cool overall, although this is a sweet cover. They did a good job with that. So yeah, still $8.99 an issue. It never did go down, didn't go up. This whole 24-month run here. But yeah, that's the lot, boss.
I say out of all those, like the covers, I think if anybody hasn't seen Laid to Rest and Ruins, those are 2 movies that I think don't get enough love. And I think they're probably worth checking out if you guys haven't.
Martyrs too, but just keep in mind Martyrs is extremely graphic for pretty much the beginning.
It would be good double feature with The Inside.
Yeah, which that one's coming out. Inside's coming out from Second Sight, I think. High Tension and Inside. Yeah.
But yeah, guys, I mean, we are right on the 2-hour mark pretty much. So, I mean, that kind of really was perfect. But if you like this kind of show, something a little bit different, just kind of more of a chill, going through some old stuff. Like I said, I have a whole box of wrestling magazines. I don't know if many people care about that. I know I do have horror magazines, but they're not a lot. I have like a lot of Horror Hound from like the 2000s. And I know you probably got a bunch of different ones.
Yeah, I collect everything. Unfortunately, my wife reminds me of that on a daily basis. But yeah, I have a lot of wrestling magazines and horror magazines, stuff like that. Big into like at one time I tried to collect all of the 1980s WWF magazines, and now it's just pretty much impossible. Like the prices on that have just went, they skyrocketed. Like the original WWF magazine was called Victory Magazine. I don't know if you remember this, but like 1983, 84. At one point in time, you could get that affordably, but now I think that it's like $200 or $300 to get that first issue.
I should check and see how much some of these, because I do have some old ones that I might even have doubles of. I'm just curious to see how much they would go for. I think it was called, I don't know, there was some with like Slaughter on it when he was like a baby face, like way back in the day. I'd have to look. I have a whole box I can go through here one day, but I love like the ones like the late 80s, early 90s where they had like those nice gloss covers where it was always like one dude featured on it. It had the big WWF logo on the top on the corner. Those were like my favorite.
Yeah, I've got probably the coolest WWF magazine that I've got features the Hart Foundation on it, and it's signed by both. It's from like 1990, I'm thinking, maybe 89. But yeah, I'll take a picture of it and send it to you after the stream's over. It's pretty sweet. I think they signed it with like a pink paint pen.
That is sick. I mean, but yeah, guys, I mean, we could easily do that like any day, really. Like I have the box right here, and it's probably got like, I don't know, maybe like 100 of them in there from just back in the day. So yeah, just let us know. And
I mean, maybe we can do less magazines. Maybe I don't know if I rushed through it or what.
Well, I mean, I think
too much.
In reality, a lot of people just like to see the covers and stuff. So, I mean, with the wrestling magazines, I can easily just kind of show them, boom, boom. And then like on the corner, they'll tell you what's in there. And if there's anything that people are interested in, I can dig a little bit deeper, maybe show some of the cool like merch stuff. That's always fun.
Cool.
But, yeah. So guys, thank you for checking this out. This was definitely something different. We thought you guys would like. Leave a comment down below. Again, if you like this idea of just doing something a little different when it comes to collecting. And Wes, you guys over at DEADPIT have anything coming up this week?
As far as the next thing that we're going to do, I think we may be trying to have Felcher on possibly by the end of the week. We don't have that nailed down yet. We're going to have a tier ranking show coming up before Christmas as well, but we don't have a specific date on that. But just DEADPIT.com, you can kind of get everything there, but anything DEADPIT, just search for it and we'll pop up there. Yeah.
And then as far as myself, I've got to review this. Like I said, I didn't have a voice for a couple days, so this has kind of been on the back burner, but I'm going to review and showcase Daryl. I watched it for the first time, and then I'll probably do a couple live streams this week, just going over some shit like, I don't need to do a full review on Monster Squad, but I checked it out, and I can kind of talk about it a little bit there. I watched Scrooge and stuff recently. I know those are new releases, but yeah, if you guys have any ideas of things that you'd like to see, let us know. And again, thank you guys so much for checking this out. This is Garrett at Born to Be Rad and DEADPIT.com.
Yeah. Give us the thumbs up.
Up your butt.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that DEADPIT puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a fuck.
I want you to. I want you to.
I don't care.
Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit radio shirts. You can get Last South on the Left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. DEADPIT on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows, fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.
We ain't